Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the PC game Subterra. The game was produced and developed by Warfare Studios and was released on Steam in 2017. The game itself is a retro style RPG game that follows in the footsteps of many past games like this, such as Shining Force and Chrono Trigger. However, is it any good or not? Let's take a look and see what Subterra has to offer gamers. The game's plot begins with you and your sister as you travel these sub-areas of Subterra, until eventually you end up being attacked and you are then separated. Once separated, you then begin a search to find your sister and end up meeting a few of the game's other characters along the way. During your adventure, you'll meet various people and end up regrouping with your sister and then find out all about how the world ended up in the state that it's in, and why everyone now lives in the domain of Subterra. You learn about the main character's story and how he has to defeat some type of demon overlord with a sword, which can only be wielded by a select few. It's a pretty basic story of the young character growing up to eventually become a hero and defeat the evils in the world. It is a simple story, but hey, it works. The game's characters are all nicely created and all come across with their own individual personalities. You have Dryst, who is the main character, who is a sword wielding knight. You have your sister Dan, who is a magic user, and then as the story advances you then meet Saren and Midnight and a few others along the way. All the characters are very well drawn and come across as likeable, as they are all very well written into the game's story quite well. They just don't feel tagged in for no particular reason or anything like that. Each character has their role to play in the game, and each character does that to the best of their abilities. They're all very well done and they're all quite likeable, and they all have their own kinks and quirks. Subterra's gameplay plays in the same type of style of that all of games like this did in the past. So if, like myself, you grew up with a SNES or a Sega Mega Drive, then you'll instantly know what to realistically expect from this. For newer gamers to the series, it's your usual RPG style format with the option of attack, skills, magic, items, and a few other features thrown in here and there. You'll travel around the world on a 2D plane, and then you'll enter towns, you'll take on quests, go to dungeons where you'll explore and battle, and combat itself switches slightly and gives you a few more options that you can mess around with here and there. I'm sure everyone out there has had some type of experience with this type of style of game before, so it's your general take on that, but in 16-bit style retro graphics, and a few surprises that you may stumble across. Subterra's graphics are nice, however it is rather strange. The game itself comes across as a 16-bit style game, but for some odd reason it comes across more like an 8-bit style game. So if you grew up with a Master System and NES, and then went onto the SNES and Mega Drive, you remember how things improved. Yet here, it just feels like a 16-bit looking game, which is actually an 8-bit game in sheep's clothing. The graphics are nice for what you can expect from RPG Maker, but things such as the game's combat system really do feel extremely limited, and the animations in the game practically just don't exist at all. For example, when you select attack with all of the characters, the graphics simply show the characters walking up to an enemy, which is usually static, and then it says it either hit the enemy or it missed them, and that's practically all you get. The only real animation you get is from the magic and the skills selection, and even those two do feel quite limited. The world of Subterra is very well thought out and a designed place. It's created in such a way that everything put together just feels right. But then the game does some things other times that make you wonder, was a part cut from the game's content? An example of this is at the beginning of the game when you meet Saren, and she says how you would have to be crazy to go through a certain area, as it's where loads of people died in the past, and now their ghosts haunt that location. And yet it's strangely right next to the town that you're in. It feels almost as if that area was meant to have another added area put there before that location comes into play, but that area somehow got cut for the final release. Various other parts of the game also feel a tad like this as well, where it just feels as if something is being cut before the game was released. It isn't really a huge deal breaker, but it can feel as if the game's locations have been cut down almost to speed the game's story up at various places. It's almost like watching the 3 Hobbit films put together back to back, but they've all been cut down to 30 minutes each. And here is the main question about this game. Should I buy? Honestly, with this game, I would say it is a serious case of 50-50. The game is roughly about 8 to 10 hours long, and for some people this could mean that you could finish it in a single sitting. The game also feels rather rushed in places, and even though the game was released in 2017, it still appears to have quite a few bugs in the game in various places. Another odd thing about the game is that I'm doing this review in 2019, and the game was released in 2017. I personally was expecting to see various other reviews for this game, but when I did a quick Google search and also checked on YouTube, bizarrely, practically none of them appeared. And this game just seems to have almost been ignored by everyone, or it just simply slipped off everyone's radar. Subterra itself isn't a bad game, it's not an amazing game, I'd say it's just a good game, but not one that's very great. It doesn't exactly stand out from the crowd. If you are thinking of buying this game, then I would recommend you weigh up all the pros and all the cons first. As while this game is okay, it does have quite a fair few flaws of it. Would I recommend Subterra? I would say yes, but I would truthfully recommend that you check out various websites such as Humble Bundle or Fanatical and see if you can get the game in some type of bundle or deal where it will be included with a few other games. Subterra is a good game, but it is far from perfect. It's very short, it has a few errors and a few problems with it, and it is a shame that the developer didn't go back and add more to it. It's a good game, but it is far from perfect. So I would recommend it, but only if it's on bundle or a sale. Well, that's it for this video guys, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.